The whole game online has been about one thing, getting that click, but that game is changing right now because AI is completely rewriting the rules of search. So let's dive in and break down exactly how you can turn this massive shift from a threat into your biggest advantage. I want you to think about this question for a second. What if the clicks just disappear? Because honestly, that's the future we're all heading towards. Search engines and AI assistants are all about giving you the answer directly, which means users never even have to click a link. This is the new zero-click reality, and it demands a whole new way of thinking. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get a handle on how search is evolving. Then I'm going to introduce you to a really powerful strategy called the content domino. From there, we'll get super practical. I'm talking step by step. How to build the perfect source page, how to multiply its impact, and this is the big one, how to actually measure success when clicks aren't the main goal anymore. Think about it. For decades, search engines gave us a list of links. Our job was just to be the most clickable, most appealing link on the page. But now they're not link engines anymore. They're becoming answer engines. They want to give the user the answer right then and there. This means your goal isn't just to rank, it's to be the credible source the AI itself chooses to quote. And yes, this massive shift already has a name. Answer Engine Optimization, or AEO for short. It's basically the art and science of setting up your content so that AI systems, whether that's Google, Alexa, or some chatbot, pick and directly quote your information. This right here is the new frontier of online visibility. So how on earth do we master this AEO thing and actually thrive when clicks are no longer the name of the game? Well, the answer is a strategy that was literally designed for this new landscape. It's a strategy called the content domino. And trust me, the idea behind it is actually pretty simple and really, really powerful. I want you to picture this. You set up one single, perfectly placed domino. That's your authoritative source page. When you push it, it sets off this awesome chain reaction, systematically knocking over all your other content dominoes. Your social posts, your videos, your newsletters, the whole shebang. One amazing piece of content becomes the engine that powers everything else you do. So you can see why that first domino is everything. If we don't get that piece right, the whole thing just falls apart. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do we build the perfect source page? This is the absolute foundation of the entire strategy. A perfect source page has a very specific anatomy and is designed to be easily read by both humans and machines. You start with a super clear title, and then you jump right into a really concise answer. The body of the article is then broken down by questions, almost like a real conversation. And it's all wrapped up with a structured FAQ section and some clear metadata that tells the AI exactly what it's looking at. Okay, let's zero in on that direct answer for a second. The magic number, the absolute sweet spot, is between 40 and 60 words. Why? Because it's short and punchy enough for an AI to just grab it and use it as a featured snippet or in a voice search reply. You go any longer and you risk getting completely overlooked. And this right here, this is the pattern. It's a perfect blueprint for how every single little piece of your page should be built. You start with a heading that asks a question, just like a real person would. You immediately provide that 40 to 60 word answer. Then, and only then, do you expand on it with more evidence and examples. This makes each section atomic, meaning it can be easily lifted and reused all by itself. Now, I mentioned schema before. Don't let the word scare you. Just think of it like this. It's like putting nutritional labels on your content. You're not just handing the AI a big wall of text, you're explicitly telling it, hey, this part here is a question and this part is the answer, or this is a step-by-step guide. This kind of technical labeling makes your content incredibly easy for an AI to understand, process, and ultimately trust. Alright, so we've built our perfect source page. Now it's time for the fun part, tipping over that first domino and watching the magic happen. And the workflow for this is so simple, and you can do it over and over again. First, you publish that amazing source page. Second, you generate all these smaller derived assets from it. Third, you schedule those assets to go out across all your channels, making sure every single piece points back and drives authority to that original source. This is how you amplify your message without constantly reinventing the wheel. So, what are we even talking about when we say derived assets? Well, it's pretty much anything you can chop up from that main source page. That 50-word answer, that's a social media caption. A bulleted list in your article, that's a slide deck. A section heading and a short answer, that's your script for a 30-second video. You see, you build it right once, and you can publish it everywhere. Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? But how do we actually know if it's working? To do that, we have to face the fact that the old metrics of success, well, they just don't tell the whole story anymore. So on one side, you've got the old school metrics we've obsessed over for years. You know, rankings, clicks, all that. But on the other side, that's the new AEO world. Here we care a lot more about things like owning the featured snippet and tracking how often an AI cites our brand. And most importantly, we start to measure a powerful new metric called share of model. So what in the world is share of model? It's basically a way to measure your brand's share of voice inside the AI's brain. For any given topic, what percentage of the time does the AI point to you as the source? This is the new gold standard for authority in a world with fewer clicks. I know this can feel like a huge change, but listen, you don't have to boil the ocean here. You can start small with a simple pilot project. In the first couple of weeks, just create one perfect source page on a really valuable topic, then spend a week turning that into 3 social posts. For the next month or so, just sit back and watch the new metrics. Track your citations, see if you snag any snippets. It's a really low-risk way to prove this whole concept works. And this quote really just nails the whole idea, right? It's a disciplined, source-first approach. And what does it create? A reliable content domino. That one source page isn't just feeding your SEO, it's fueling your AEO, your social media, and pretty much everything else. It's a game changer. So as we wrap this up, it all comes down to one big question you need to ask yourself in this new age of AI. Is your content just another destination? Another place people have to click to find an answer? Or is it becoming the authoritative source that powers answers everywhere? Because in this new world, the future belongs to the source.